December 16, 2025. The head of Britain's Secret Intelligence Service, MI6, stands before cameras for the first time as chief. Her message is chilling. "We are now operating in a space between peace and war," she says. "The front line is everywhere." Her name is Blaise Metreweli, the first woman to ever lead MI6 in its 116-year history, and she's just confirmed what many suspected but few dared say aloud. The United Kingdom is already at war with Russia, not with tanks rolling across borders, not with fighter jets screaming through European skies, but with something far more insidious, a shadow war conducted in the dark waters of the Baltic Sea, in the encrypted channels of cyberspace, on the quiet streets of Salisbury, England. This is the story of how two intelligence giants, MI6 and the Kremlin, are locked in a brutal, invisible conflict that could reshape Europe forever. To understand how we got here, we need to go back 7 years. March 4th, 2018, Salisbury, England. A father and daughter, Sergei and Yulia Skripal, are found unconscious on a public bench, foaming at the mouth, convulsing. Within hours, British authorities realize they're dealing with something unprecedented: Novichok, a military-grade nerve agent so lethal a single drop can kill within minutes. Sergei Skripal wasn't just anyone. He was a former Russian GRU officer, military intelligence, who had betrayed Moscow by spying for MI6. In 2010, he was exchanged in a spy swap and granted asylum in Britain. He thought he was safe. He was wrong. Within months, British investigators identified the assassins, Alexander Petrov and Ruslan Boshirov. Fake names, real GRU officers. They'd flown from Moscow, smeared Novichok on Skripal's door handle, and disappeared back to Russia, all within 48 hours. It was brazen, it was reckless, and it killed an innocent British woman. Dawn Sturgis, 44 years old, found a perfume bottle in a park 4 months later. It was the discarded weapon. She sprayed it on her wrist and died 8 days later. In December 2025, a UK public inquiry concluded what many already knew. Vladimir Putin personally authorized the attack. Prime Minister Theresa May expelled 23 Russian diplomats. 28 other nations followed suit. 153 Russian intelligence officers expelled in the biggest purge since the Cold War. The message was clear: chemical weapons on British soil would not be tolerated. But Russia didn't stop, it evolved. What happened next is what intelligence analysts call hybrid warfare, a term that sounds clinical, bureaucratic, but make no mistake, it's war, just not the kind with front lines. Since Russia's full-scale invasion of Ukraine in 2022, Britain has become a primary target. Let me break down exactly how Russia is attacking the United Kingdom right now. In February 2025, the UK government sanctioned a Russian cybercrime syndicate responsible for $1 billion in global ransomware attacks in a single year. These aren't just hackers, they're state-sponsored operatives, working hand in glove with the FSB, Russia's Federal Security Service. They've attacked government websites, defense contractors, critical infrastructure. And here's the terrifying part. Many of these attacks are designed not to steal data, but to test vulnerabilities, to map out Britain's digital defenses for a future. Larger assault. In 2024 and 2025, Russian-backed operatives set fire to Ukrainian-linked factories across Britain, warehouses storing aid shipments, defense equipment. Polish, German, and Czech authorities reported similar incidents. A coordinated campaign of arson sweeping across Europe. This is where things get truly alarming. November 2024. Two critical fiber optic cables, BCS East-West Interlink and CS Lion 1, are severed in the Baltic Sea. They connect Finland, Germany, Sweden, and Lithuania. They carry internet data, energy infrastructure communications, military signals. Within hours, investigators identify a Chinese cargo ship, Yiping 3, at the exact location and time of both cable breaks. But here's where it gets interesting. U.S. intelligence officials believe the ship's Chinese captain was coerced by Russian intelligence to drag its anchor deliberately across the seabed. Christmas Day, 2024. The S-Link 2 power cable linking Finland and Estonia is severed. This time, it's a Russian-linked tanker, the Eagle S, part of Putin's shadow fleet. Investigators find a 60-mile anchor drag mark on the seafloor. Deliberate, calculated. Since 2022, at least 10 undersea cables in the Baltic have been damaged. 7 of those cuts occurred between November 2024 and January 2025 alone. The pattern is clear. The intent is unmistakable. March 2025. 3 Bulgarian nationals are convicted of espionage in the UK. Prosecutors call it industrial-scale spying for Russia. They're nicknamed the Minions, after the cartoon characters who serve a supervillain named Gru. In Russian intelligence, GRU is the military intelligence agency. Dark irony. Their mission: surveillance of Russian defectors living in Britain, tracking Ukrainian officials, mapping military installations. The trial revealed something alarming. After the Skripal expulsions, Russia lost its professional intelligence officers in the UK. So the FSB and GRU outsourced to criminals, to proxies, to anyone willing to do the work for cash. As MI6's previous chief Richard Moore put it, Russian intelligence services have gone a bit feral in their behavior. Which brings us back to December 25. Blaise Metreweli, the new MI6 chief, didn't mince words. Russia is testing us in the gray zone with tactics just below the threshold of war, she said. Cyber attacks on critical infrastructure, drones buzzing NATO airports and military bases, aggressive activity in British seas, above and below the waves. In November 2024, British defense officials confirmed a Russian spy vessel, the Yantar, was spotted in UK waters. Not once, twice. The Yantar is outfitted with deep-sea monitoring equipment capable of cutting undersea cables, installing surveillance devices. It's a ghost ship for the digital age. And Metreweli made a promise. MI6 would fight back. "We will sharpen our edge and impact with audacity," she said, invoking Winston Churchill's directive to the Special Operations Executive in World War II. Set Europe ablaze. It means MI6 is no longer playing defense. It's going on the offensive, recruiting agents inside Russia's intelligence services, disrupting FSB operations in Europe, leaking damaging intelligence to expose Kremlin activities. The gloves are off, but intelligence wars require military backing. In June 2025, UK Prime Minister Keir Starmer unveiled the Strategic Defence Review, the biggest military expansion since the Cold War. The numbers are staggering. £15 billion for nuclear warhead programs, up to 12 new attack submarines by the late 2030s, 6 new munitions factories producing 7,000 long-range weapons, defense spending rising from 2.3% to 2.5% of GDP by 2027, an additional $6 billion per year. Starmer's message was unambiguous. We face war in Europe, new nuclear risks, daily cyber attacks, growing Russian aggression in our waters, menacing our skies. The threat we face is more serious, more immediate, and more unpredictable than at any time since the Cold War. So why is Russia doing this? What's the endgame? To understand Putin's strategy, you have to understand his worldview. Vladimir Putin is not a politician. He's a spy. He spent his formative years in the KGB stationed in Dresden, East Germany, running active measures against the West. When the Soviet Union collapsed in 1991, Putin saw it as the greatest geopolitical catastrophe of the 20th century. And he spent his entire presidency trying to reverse it. From Putin's perspective, NATO's expansion is an existential threat. Finland and Sweden, neutral for decades, joined NATO after Russia invaded Ukraine. The Baltic Sea, once a Russian lake, is now surrounded by NATO member states. Moscow feels encircled, humiliated, weakened. So Russia is using hybrid warfare to achieve 3 goals. First, intimidation. Show Europe that Russia can strike anywhere, anytime with plausible deniability. Second, division. Undermine NATO unity. Make European nations question whether collective defense is worth the cost. Third, testing. Probe NATO's defenses, find weak points, practice for a larger conflict. And it's working. Lithuania's foreign minister said it plainly. Russia wants to test whether NATO is still the alliance it was before Trump. Because if NATO fractures, if Article 5 collective defense becomes meaningless, then Putin has won without firing a shot. So where does this leave us? Former MI5 Director General Baroness Manningham Buller said it best. We may already be at war with Russia. Not a war with bullets and bombs, but a war nonetheless, and Britain is on the front line. The Strategic Defense Review will cost at least £67 billion through the late 2030s. Critics say it's not enough. Others warn it's unsustainable. To pay for it, the UK government is cutting foreign aid, potentially raising taxes, betting on economic growth that may not materialize. The human cost is already visible. British soldiers are preparing for warfighting readiness, not peacekeeping, not humanitarian missions. War. Britain isn't alone. Poland is spending 4.7% of its GDP on defense, the highest in NATO. Germany is remilitarizing for the first time since World War II. Estonia, Latvia, Lithuania, the Baltic states are fortifying their borders, building underground bunkers, preparing for invasion. But there's a paradox. The more Europe arms itself, the more Russia feels threatened. The more Russia escalates, the more Europe must respond. It's a security spiral, and no one knows how to break it. For MI6 and the FSB, this is the new battlefield. Recruiting double agents inside enemy intelligence services, cyber-infiltrating classified networks, poisoning defectors on foreign soil, sabotaging undersea infrastructure that powers entire nations. Blaise Metreweli said MI6 would outplay Russia in every domain, in every way. That means operations we'll never know about, agents whose names will never be declassified, victories and losses measured in secrets stolen and lives saved or lost. In January 2025, NATO launched Operation Baltic Sentry, a new mission to protect undersea cables and critical infrastructure in the Baltic Sea. Warships patrol the waters 24/7, surveillance aircraft monitor Russian and Chinese vessels. Divers test underwater sensors. But the shadow war is far from over. Russia continues to probe, to test, to sabotage, and Britain continues to fight back, quietly, ruthlessly, in the dark spaces between peace and war. As MI6's first female chief put it, the front line is everywhere. That means your internet connection, your power grid, the cables beneath the ocean carrying your emails, your bank transactions, your military communications. This isn't a distant war in a foreign land. It's happening now, beneath your feet, in the code running on your devices. And the question isn't whether the UK and Russia are at war. The question is, how long before the shadow becomes real?